the perfect storm to create a technocratic cryptocurrency social credit dictatorship for the entire world. The only difference is instead of forcing it upon humanity, they're going to make them beg for it. If you guys believe that some Japanese wizard invented Bitcoin, you're a clown. My friend, that's why BlackRock owns like 70% of it. That's why the Universal Ledger, you can't hide anything. You mark my words. They're going to announce a coin soon. They're going to announce a new monetary policy. They're going to put it under the guise of Doge, that this is how we're going to be able to monitor all this excess spending of the government, and that's how they will bring the crypto era to the world. And you know as a Christian how dangerous that is. And this is where Christians and Muslims are on the same page. I've always said to my Christian brothers, we both believe in Jesus Christ. We both believe he will come back. Why do we need to fight each other? When he comes back, he can tell us whether he was God or just a prophet. Until then, let's focus on these people who have perpetual war, who have created disaster, who spend trillions on destruction and nothing for construction of the very country we live in.
But back to this whole picture of... do you think that Musk is trying to get rid of 80% of the federal government because he's trying to bring in AI to replace
That's another problem. What is brewing would probably make George Orwell roll over in his grave. Have you seen the robots that they're coming out with right now? Have you looked at Boston Dynamics? The reason most tyrants have not lasted throughout history is because eventually even the military and the police like, you know what, man, I'm going to shoot my own brothers and sisters. So that human discretion is what's always led to their toppling. What if they could install the system under Doge? And I'm not saying this is exactly the agenda, but I believe it to be. Go look at my clips. I said, I don't trust any of them until we have a reason to trust them. We're going to bring this in and no more corruption and then now the machines are out and running and there'll be no more shootings and unjustness, and then they just flip a switch, bro. Your prisons I've never argued you can't make money with crypto. Find me a video where I say you can't make money and I'll never speak publicly again. I've always said that's how they get you used to it. You are building the prison of your children tomorrow. Eventually they can tell you how to use it. I can't even tell you how I know. They're going to use global warming and all this in the future. They're going to have a carbon-based tax system. How much pollution, this is what they want if certain groups win, where every human being will be taxed accordingly to how much pollution they make.
And the 15-minute cities too.
All of that is a part of this plan. And I don't see anyone that's really standing up against it. So you tell me who's leading the charge against it. There's people that are not spiritual that also can see it. There's danger here. A robot won't say no to pull the trigger. A drone, which is more dangerous than any F-15 now, right? F-15s and all this stuff is obsolete now with drone warfare. They can send drones now, like 1,000 drones at once. So we're in a whole different world. And really, the only way we can win humanity is free speech being protected. Unless we demand an amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which classifies social media as the new public square, because we have seen countries topple. We have seen violence come from it. We have seen manipulation and censorship from people like Zuckerberg, who publicly admitted that, yes, the government pressured me not to allow you guys to talk about certain things, right? So when you have the head of one of the biggest tech companies in the world telling you, the government forced me to silence you, then we need legislation to protect free speech on social media. It needs to be a new amendment because technology now has outpaced, in my opinion, the Constitution. And the only way we can ever push back and protect the world and humanity from all of these threats is to protect free speech. And it is not protected the way they are giving the perception. And the fact that they're all together now, it's only people have short memories. People have TikTok brain. There's many laws that should have been repealed already that haven't been, like the Patriot Act. We're talking about surveillance. Now knowing that all these wars that were started on false pretenses. How do you think I felt as a 19-year-old? We're going to go to Afghanistan, this is George Bush, and we're going to take out the Taliban. Here we are 24 years later. They're still in power, more armed than ever. We've been paying them billions of dollars. Explain that to the firefighters that died that day. Explain that to the citizens of New York City. Explain that to the cops and the Port Authority and the civilians that were told by the EPA, by Christine Todd Whitman, that the air in Lower Manhattan was safe. They lied to me. I led a protest after the buildings fell because I knew something was wrong. You guys are safe. 10 years later, there's a multi-billion-dollar fund, like there will be one day probably for these nice things everyone put into their arms without questioning.